We turn our attention now to politics and Donald Trump not backing away from that personal attack lobbed at Hillary Clinton. Now, you're going to remember the Republican frontrunner came under fire earlier this week for using this off-color term for the male anatomy when referencing Clinton's 2008 primary loss to President Obama. Here's what Trump had to say last night.
Well, to me, it always meant to get beaten badly. I mean, and that's what happened with Hillary Clinton. She got beaten badly. But to me, that's really a reference to getting beaten and really, pretty decisively. And when I said it, nobody in the audience thought anything about it. They clapped. They didn't view that as being a horrible thing.
I want to bring in now Politico's Eli Stokols and Dean Obeidallah, host of the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Radio. Also, Dean is a columnist for the Daily Beast. Gentlemen, good to have you with me. Eli, let me start with you. Who benefits from the back and forth between Secretary Clinton and Donald Trump?
Well, that remains to be seen. I mean, Hillary Clinton certainly thinks she can benefit from this to galvanize women's supporters. But, Donald Trump has not been hurt by any of the crazy things that he's said for months now. And this is another thing. I mean, there are a lot of verbs he could have used other than the one he chose. And what he does is he draws attention away from all the other candidates because everybody, again, is reacting to something he says. The political incorrectness, it stuns a lot of people who have watched politics for a long time, but it also is what endears his supporters to him because they like him shooting from the hip, so to speak. So it remains to be seen if any other Republican rivals who, most of them don't really want to talk about this, some of them who criticize him. I don't know if there's anything really to be gained from doing that at this point because we've seen this pattern play out for months and nothing really seems to stop Trump's continued success atop the Republican field.
No, the polls seem to indicate he is a strong contender, Dean, still. He is rewarded by the rhetoric because of it, so he feels emboldened. And a lot of people might say, okay, go after Hillary Clinton in this fashion. We like getting dirty like this.
Sure, they do. And for Donald Trump, look at it this way. He's no longer fighting with Ted Cruz or Jeb Bush. He's taking on the presumptive Democratic nominee. So he's saying to the party, I'm beyond the primary challenges now. It's me against Hillary Clinton. It excites his base. They don't like Hillary at all. And on some level now, Hillary's base, I think, is animated to defend her because his comment is just off the charts. And this is not Eli saying it's distract us. It is. It's to distract us from policy. Donald Trump does not want to talk about the nuances of policy, nor does his base want to hear it. They want to hear this stuff. They want to hear red meat, politically incorrect stuff, demonizing, insults all the way, and the crowd goes crazy for it, and Trump ascends every time he does it.
Meanwhile, Eli, we've got to go through the nuances of these tweets from Donald Trump to understand the references that he's trying to allude to.
Well, I mean, yeah, and he's made insinuations about Hillary Clinton for months. I mean, maybe because she's not a supermodel, it's not his kind of woman, so to speak. But, he'll talk about her pantsuits. He'll make insinuations about her special friendship with Huma Abedin, her top aide. I mean, he's been sort of saying these things for a while, and now this is a little more unvarnished in terms of what he's trying to maybe say about Hillary Clinton, and it may backfire. This is one of the things, too, that establishment Republicans who are really trying to convince voters, look, if you go for Trump, this is going to be a problem for us. This is just another data point for them to point to, saying, look, it's time to get serious. That's what's going on up in New Hampshire with Jeb Bush and Chris Christie and some of these other candidates saying, you do not want to go with Trump because you're going to put the party in a real bind.
And as we race toward Iowa and New Hampshire, Dean, what is the best thing that can happen? If you were Reince Priebus at the RNC, what would you want for Christmas?
I would want some reasonable rhetoric from Donald Trump. I mean, he's not going to say Donald Trump to leave the campaign, but frankly, do you want this to be your party's nominee to define you for the next 4 years if he were to win, or 8 years? The idea is anti-Latino, anti-Muslim, ridiculous comments about women, defending, beating up a Black Lives activist matter. No, this is a horrible thing for the legacy of the GOP. So I think Trump going away, but that's not a likelihood.
Trump's already looking ahead to a general election matchup with Hillary Clinton, slamming the Democratic frontrunner in a series of tweets, accusing her of, quote, stupidity, playing the war on women card, and being, quote, a criminal. I want to bring in NBC campaign embed Ali Vitale, who covers the Trump campaign. Ali, good to have you here in studio and not on the campaign. I hope you're enjoying at least being back home for a short time.
Nice to be back in here, not necessarily out in the cold.
We're gonna send you back out very quickly, but before we do, let me get your opinions on a few things, and one in particular, a tweet that stood out more than any others, something of a veiled threat, so to speak, that came out from the Trump campaign against Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, he was definitely talking about, he said, be careful at one point when you complain about a penchant for sexism. And a lot of people on her campaign, while they said that they weren't going to respond. She did kind of respond in a sense, you know, a lot of the people in her camp pushing back against the sense that this was a sexist comment, was pretty vulgar. But that idea of be careful as a threat, yes, it's a little bit of the Trump vernacular for you should watch yourself, but it's not something that's just relegated to Hillary Clinton. It's something that he said about Jeb Bush, Bobby Jindal, a lot of people who've hit him in the past, who he says the people that hit him end up going down. And truly, there is some evidence to back that up. You've seen people like Lindsey Graham, again, Bobby Jindal, Scott Walker. They've all dropped out of the race. Now, Trump would say that that's directly because of him, but, you know, the other factors are obviously in play there.
For sure. Well, speaking of going out or hitting someone in the political sense, he also last night, Trump on Fox last night had something to say, and I want to play you this. He said that he hasn't really gone after her yet, her being Hillary Clinton. Take a listen to this.
I really haven't gone after Hillary yet, and there's a lot to go after. She is very susceptible, I think, to, I mean, look, the job she's done is horrible. I mean, you don't get worse. So I think that's going to be, frankly, easier in some cases than some of the people I'm currently running against. So I'm fine with Hillary. I think that the last person, and I know this for a fact, the last person that she wants to be running against is me.
So we hear two different things. Donald Trump saying that he says he is the last person she wants to be running against. But then we also hear from some Democrats saying that Donald Trump would be the best person Hillary Clinton can run against. And in fact, in early polling, it shows that she is 2 points at least ahead of him in any national election.
And Donald Trump, you know he loves the polls, but he does seem to ignore ones that show him losing to Hillary Clinton in a head-to-head matchup. But when he says that he hasn't started going after her yet, on the trail we have seen him recently sharpening his language, drawing that distinction between her and him, trying to push towards what that general election matchup might look like. And when you hear different camps saying, oh, she'd love to run against him or she would hate to run against him, obviously everyone's pushing an agenda there. But there is something to consider when you think about his immigration policy, how she's been bear-hugging a lot of immigration activists, really putting forth a lot of proposals that they want to hear, trying to earn that vote, although we saw some of it backfire recently. He is obviously not looking to earn the vote of many Hispanic groups, even though he says that he believes that he'll win them. So there's definitely evidence on both sides for why she'd want to run against him or not.
And let's talk very quickly about what the schedule looks like for Donald Trump towards the end of this year. What are we expecting? Is he going back out on the campaign trail? Does he have any big events between now and the new year?
We're seeing a little bit of a break. He will be going to worship tonight down in Palm Beach, where he's spending the holidays, but he'll be largely quiet on the campaign trail until next Monday. He'll be back in Nashua, New Hampshire. And then he starts an early state swing. He'll go to New Hampshire, Iowa, and then South Carolina, so states that are definitely pretty important.
There's been some criticism that he's not putting enough legwork into Iowa. You've been out on the campaign trail. What are you seeing in terms of the ground, the organizational level on a ground level in terms of Iowa? Is he putting in groundwork there?
His campaign has definitely been on the ground there, recruiting people to try to come caucus. They've been identifying precinct captains. I know that the New York Times reporting was that that might have been in a little bit of disarray. However, our embeds on the ground, we've got two great guys, Danny Freeman and Vaughn Hilliard. They've pushed back on that a little bit, saying that his organization is strong and that they're seeing a lot of legwork from his campaign, especially when you consider it in contrast to other campaigns that are on the ground and a little bit lagging behind in terms of their organization there.
All right, Ali Vitale, one of our new NBC News campaign embeds. Good to have you in studio.
Thanks, Eamon.
And we'll see you back out on the road.